Have you ever wondered if this is all real? Like, what if everything around us isn't what it seems? What if we're living in a giant computer game, kind of like The Matrix? It sounds crazy, but some people believe it's possible. This idea is called the simulation hypothesis. It says that our reality is actually a super advanced computer program created by someone or something else. Think about video games. They've gotten so real looking that it's hard to tell them apart from the real world sometimes. So, is it really that hard to believe our universe could be a giant, super detailed simulation? Some people think that if a civilization gets advanced enough, they could definitely create these kinds of simulations. And if they can, maybe we're in one right now. The idea that things might not be as they seem is actually not new. Philosophers have been thinking about this for a really long time, but the simulation hypothesis takes it to a whole other level. It's like saying our whole existence could be one big, elaborate illusion. People have been wondering about reality forever. A long time ago, a philosopher named René Descartes wondered if we could ever be sure we weren't dreaming or being tricked by an evil demon. These ideas got people thinking, and eventually led to the simulation hypothesis. A philosopher named Nick Bostrom made this idea even more popular. He said that if a civilization becomes super advanced, it could create tons of simulations. So, there's a good chance we're in one of those simulations rather than the real world. Another idea is that these advanced civilizations might create simulations of their ancestors, kind of like looking back in time. If that's true, there could be countless simulated pasts happening right now, along with what we think is the present. This makes the chances of us being in the real world, instead of a simulated one, really, really small. The idea of living in a simulation might seem ridiculous, but what if there are clues? Some people say that weird things that happen in our world, like déjà vu or crazy coincidences, could be glitches in the simulation. It's like when a video game freezes or something weird happens. Could these be signs that our reality is breaking down? Even the way the universe works makes some people think we're in a simulation. Everything seems to follow laws and patterns that we can write down with math. This makes some people think that reality itself might be like a code, like in a computer program. A scientist named Paul Davies even thinks there could be simulations within simulations. Imagine that, a simulation creating its own simulations. That would mean there are layers and layers of reality, and each layer has no idea the one above it even exists. Mind-blowing, right? The simulation hypothesis might seem scary, but it makes us ask some big questions about our existence. If we're just living in a simulation, what does that mean for our choices and free will? Are we just characters in someone else's game? This idea goes beyond just thinking about philosophy. If our reality is a simulation, it could change everything we know about physics, consciousness, and how the universe works. It could even lead to new scientific discoveries. Even if it turns out we're not living in a simulation, just thinking about it makes us question our place in the universe. It reminds us that what we think is real might be even stranger and more amazing than we could ever imagine.